Okay, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's part 4 now, or I would say it's part 3, part 2. I guess you could say, because this is the some more gamers, so like, because they're like kind of doing like a one video for him, one video for him kind of thing, because it's like a team up kind of video of the completionist. But anyways, it's right here. It's an hour, almost an hour long at this point. Like the completionist, open hand charity scam has to be investigated. He's gonna go more in deep than Josh, right? And I have no words, man. At one point, I was like, "Oh, hey, it may not be that bad. He has the money in the account. It's all good. It may be worse than that, guys."
Udahar, and it's been a wild month this month, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like every time around this moment in the year, I always work with another beloved YouTuber about a situation regarding financial kerfuffles, okay? I remember it was literally around this year, we were doing like Save the Kids, we were doing Rubet investigations, and if you've been following my channel, you've noticed that I've covered Gerard the Completionist and his associated charity foundation, the Open Hand Foundation. So to give you an idea, to recap the story, me and Carl Jobst, another YouTuber, 2 weeks ago started looking into the public 990 PF tax filings of the Open Hand Foundation. We found a glaring discrepancy, which according to those tax filings, the total money they contributed was a whopping goose egg, $0, okay? While holding on to, according to their accounts, $650,000 and above. So just a little over. Now, of course, the Open Hand Foundation is a family charitable organization built in the honor of Karen Khalil, which is the late mother of the YouTuber known as The Completionist, also known as Gerard Khalil. So we interviewed Gerard in our initial video drops, where we obtained his side of the story, because that's just how you do journalism. So in this situation, Gerard even told us that the money is still currently in an account.
To answer your question, Carl,
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. You know, I think that's my fuck up. I have personally donated to AFTD and Alzheimer's Association over the years, and that's where, again, I assumed the money was going there to support them as we were talking negotiations about working with them.
I believe the lawyers said like he messed up right there, because right now they're in talks with his lawyers right now, which is like there's a reason why they haven't said anything yet, like the organization as much or anything at all right now. It's because of the lawyers at this point.
I don't really have a true answer for that, and that's on me completely, and I will own up to that. But you know, again, it doesn't matter. You guys are going to say what you're going to say, and I can't stop it. But the important thing is that all the money is still in the account. None of it's spent erroneously. It's all above board. Like it's not hiding in a Cayman account or anything like that. Yeah, and that's the thing about 501Cs is that like if I did any of that, the minute I did any malpractice of that nature, literally the government would be like, "Hey, we're coming after you," and that's right. You know, at least legally speaking, everything's above board. And I understand that the question isn't so much legality and so much more about morality and, you know, me advertising this event and showing people sponsors and all that stuff.
He even confirmed that he had no idea the money was donated since at least 2022.
I knew it was sitting there at a certain point, and that's what made me proactively go about it. Like,
do you know when that point was?
I was made aware in 2021 when the money hadn't moved yet. Okay. And that's what made me go, that's not cool. And that's
in 2021, so it's been 2 years since then. We already went through this, so it's just recapping right now what happened on the previous parts. So you guys can watch those videos on his channel or Josh's channel. Kind of go from there, I guess. But like I said, it just all recap. That's why I'm not really giving any my own commentary now.
I got personally involved to move it, and
did anyone
2021 last year, 2022?
Yeah, did anyone tell you that the money was going somewhere before then? Were you being misled?
No. No one told me anything. I assumed that it was all going to a charity, and I assumed incorrectly.
And in 2023, he actually held the Indieland event again and started naming charities. In fact, he made it pretty much a common identity that they were going to do whatever they can to donate this money to charities and make sure that the money given to them year over year was going to fight dementia and help assist in its research.
We are raising money for dementia research in honor of my late mom, trying to help folks who've been impacted by dementia. working with organizations like USF, FTD Association of America, Alzheimer's Association of America, and so many more.
Do our own version of that every year and kind of make it a cool celebration of games and raise money for charity. And so he was like, I wish we had a charity that we could donate to. And I was like, oh, I run my own charity called the Open Hand Foundation, and all the money that we aggregate. I started it when I was a young boy with my dad in honor of my mom who had dementia. And so we just every year we try and raise as much money as possible, and then we go work with Alzheimer's Association of America, University of San Francisco, Association for FTD, which is what my mom had, FTD. So we've like worked with big and small organizations across the board, and he was like, it'd be really cool if we did a show all about raising money for people who are making huge headways in dementia research and prevention and all that stuff. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. We have the organization to do it. We just, need to come up with a theme. And so,
yeah, we're going to have it probably next year. No promises, but so for those guys who don't know, we had a show last year, and it went great, but it was very expensive, and TOBG covered the cost of it, but we have kind of a rule of like, we want to make sure that like, as we do charity events, that we're not costing the charity organization or really anyone outside of our awesome sponsors. The guys at FlyQuest who've been so supportive.
No.
We want to make sure that the money that we do raise actually goes.
Because in the other video, it's possible they've been scheming off money. So like, that means is pretty much they've been lying how much money they've been making throughout the charities. So instead of like saying, let's say they made $1,000, right? But they only been reporting about $90, $40 instead. So they're keeping the extra 10 or extra 60, whatever, that they don't report.
Goes to charity and is spent properly. And so, surprise, surprise, hosting a convention-like event is very expensive.
While in reality, the money was never donated, it sat in an account, losing its value to inflation, and of course, research was lost over time because it never got paid to be done. So again, what we happened over here, initially looking into it, was the organization in writing even told us that they were actively looking for benefactors. So you cannot go on a charity live stream like Indieland and claim and misrepresent that your organization in the public view is working or, getting in touch with some of these named charity organizations, while at the back end, you write to us and tell us that you're still looking for actual benefactors. Again, misleading statements, and it can constitute charity fraud in the public eye. If somebody goes out there in the public eye and tells you, hey, we're working with so-and-so, but you were just trying to find a charity to donate to all this time, that is basically a false statement. You are misleading people in the public, and that's where charity fraud gets into the mix. So again, since we made those videos, me and my update video, there was no public statement from either the Khalil family, Gerard, or even their lawyers sending out any correspondence to properly address this matter. So with each passing day, all the community can do is wonder, is the money even in the Open Hand Holdings account to begin with? Will it be donated to the charities that were name dropped on live streams and podcasts? And will it happen soon? These are the questions we ask. So yesterday, or maybe the day before, depending on how quick I can get this out and how vetted I can get all this information, my co-investigator, Carl Jobst, had released an update video where he dove further into what he now claims is a scam. Carl showed another event in the purview of the Open Hand Foundation,
that's the one we watched,
Convenience Cup Challenge, which is hosted by Power Buying Dealers West. PBDWest.com, a company founded by Charles Khalil, Gerard's father, the man currently behind the books, the president of the actual organization listed according to their public filings. This was obtained from the state of California's version of their public filings.
The criminal?
So again, ladies and gentlemen, looking further into it, I briefly mentioned the Convenience Cup Challenge in my second update video regarding this topic. And it was the only other listed event next to the Indieland event out there. So again, to understand, Indieland was raising money for the Open Hand Foundation. And PBD West has also been raising money for, as you can guess it, the Open Hand Foundation. If you go to their actual website right now, ladies and gentlemen, the actual page in this case, you can find out that PBD West Convenience Cup, if you look into their pricing tiers for their sponsors, in the bottom right, you can see check payment to, basically write a check to the Open Hand Foundation. And of course, I'm going to block out the address and the numbers so I don't get privacy guideline strikes on my channel. But the idea here is you write checks to the Open Hand Foundation. So again, the money should be going to the Open Hand. So to understand, if you watched Carl's video yesterday, you'd probably realize that what appears on the surface is that there is a pretty glaring discrepancy in the revenue that is reported. It seems that the Open Hand Foundation may be underreporting their actual money, okay? Because there are more multiple sources, and it seems not all the money is properly accounted for. So what do I mean by that? It appears that when we look at the public filings, yet again, the money that they raise doesn't actually factor the golf tournament.
It doesn't add up.
So especially towards the years of 2019 and beyond. So let's get down into it, okay? So throughout the various years when they hold this event, you can look at various photo streams going all the way back to like 2014, where they actually have some pretty large sponsors like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Monster. You can see their actual main corporate logos dropped right on there. Big brands. And what you can actually see here is various tiers that they have isolated these systems by. Now, according to their website, once again, if we look at the pricing for these tiers, you can see that sponsors can place their branding if they pay $10,000, $8,000, $7,500, $6,500, sometimes as low as $300 if you can't make it, but you just want to support these guys. You can have your corporate logo prominently displayed on course signage and the sponsor board. So again, ladies and gentlemen, it's just sponsors who basically pay to have this event running, and they write their checks to the Open Hand Foundation. And this isn't even including the raffles that are apparently listed on these foundations and various other sources of revenues, such as ticket sales.
Or so like in-hand money or something. Like, I don't think people exchange actual money on these events, right? Like, I think it's just mostly checks, or I don't know. Like, cause you know, like sometimes they have like those like buckets or something. They're like, oh, hey, you guys can just put $1 here, $5, but these kind of events, I'm pretty sure it's probably more money than that. So you don't know what others account for, like what cash money they actually get from like charities too as well. Like, I don't know. Do they do cash too as well? I have no idea. I've not seen any evidence of that, but it's like, because the auction stuff, I don't know if there's raffles there too. Purchase raffle tickets, so I'm pretty sure that's in-hand money. Like, it's not like they're gonna like write a check to buy a raffle ticket or send money through a phone and, you know, send to like online, maybe like with card, maybe, I don't know. But for the most part, with raffle tickets, usually people will buy that with physical money. I could be wrong with this, but I'm just saying.
And again, this money should be reflected in the actual accounting, because when we look closer, it actually appears that the only sources of funding that appear are the Tiltify earnings for Indieland and actual donations and grants from recognizable private exempt parties, which we'll look into real quick right now. So when we looked into the actual filings and we looked into this event itself and those various photo streams where we saw all those sponsors and tiers listed, unfortunately, adding those figures up, we don't actually see it accurately reflected in the public filings, which, ladies and gentlemen, might I remind you, is not necessarily legal, okay? To understand, if all the money isn't accounted for in a charity when you are raising money for the charity, the government considers that to be illegal. That can be fraudulent. That could be embezzlement. That could be mishandling of funds, which is a severe illegal no-no. So again, ladies and gentlemen, to understand why this money doesn't appear in the revenue sections for all of these filings accordingly is actually pretty alarming. And to understand, Open Hand actually does claim expenses for that golf tournament as well. In 2023, according to their expense sheet, they listed golf fundraiser expenses for $5,236, showing a direct expense relationship to these events. So another revenue source. So okay, I'm flashbanging you with a lot of information, but to understand, now we have to look at the revenues that are added up once again in these filings. Because now there's actually 4 key sources of revenue we have to take account of.
Tilphilic. Oh yeah. The Tiltify campaign for Indieland, grants from other organization, Indieland ticket merch, and Twitch/YouTube earnings, golf event checks, and also like golf events. Also, like I said, I think people actually buy stuff there too,
in
like the
order to
raffles
get
and all
the
that.
full picture of the situation. One of them is obviously the Indieland raising expenses. So to understand, Indieland happened since 2018. And with Indieland, according to 2018 and 2019, there were some specific dollar amounts. So according in 2018, there was an amount of like $50,000. And when it came to 2019, there was obviously preliminary earnings based on this tweet of around $100,000. Of course, any amount after that isn't given into its specifics like these 2 years, where the only money that we have to go off of, on the record is from Tiltify. So if you go to Tiltify, they actually have these campaigns still up. You can view how much was raised. And of course, according to one of the...
Yeah, I like Tiltify. I mean, because they give you all the information that you need on there. Like, I work with them, not like indirectly, but like because I work with like other charities and stuff in the past, like Evil Gamers, Save the Children, like because I did like a lot of coloring pages and stuff like that, and you just put a link there. You can even show it on your stream like a bar, how much money you raised and all that, and you don't get any money directly towards like I guess like me or streamer. Like, you just go straight to the charity, and that's what I believe OTK does, and a lot of other streamers just do instead of doing like this kind of thing where like they create their own organized charity organization, and yeah.
event coordinators, Michael Barrett, you can actually see that this amount isn't necessarily, in some cases, the full accounting. Because according to Michael, there's also merch sales, there's also, earnings from YouTube, subscriptions, super chats, Twitch bits, donations, so on and so forth. That also has to get added into the accounting. But remember, these are all separate earning pools from Indieland. The Tiltify campaign does not include what would be earned on YouTube or Twitch. That's for Gerard to, make public to the audience and tell them exactly how much money was raised, and then add that to the open hand revenue, or I guess directly donate it. But we know it's not donated because if it was donated, especially those YouTube and Twitch bits, how can you donate those to a charity but then not donate the rest of the money that was amassed in the Open Hand Foundation? Doesn't exactly make sense that way, and it's logical to conclude that that money is also probably still sitting in limbo, but it is unaccounted for. For instance, if you look at the Indieland Tiltify campaign, you can see that they raised $80,000, right? Like something around there. And yes, there are penalties, depending on if you use PayPal or Stripe or variations of their payment services. The penalties or processing fees can vary. According to Tiltify, you could, in the worst scenario, face up to 5% processing fees from Tiltify. I'm going to be more charitable than Open Hand and just apply the 5% penalty to their Tiltify campaign. So roughly, if you're looking at 80,000, you're looking at around $4,000 of processing fees. But we'll get into the specifics in a little bit. So to understand, that's one pillar of revenue making right there. Now, the second actual revenue source in this situation is the actress known as Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, you've probably seen Jamie Lee Curtis on the Indieland streams, but Jamie Lee Curtis also runs her own charitable organization known as the Syzygy Foundation, whose filings are, as you can imagine, publicly available. So, with publicly available...
Bro, I wonder if Jamie Lee Curtis is going to say something about this at this point. Well, maybe not in public, but to them, like, because she's pretty much not involved, but she helped them in some ways.
Available filings. Yours truly decided to look at all of her filings, and I found that since 2018, she was actually sending money to the Open Hand Foundation. So, for instance, this is the Syzygy Foundation right here, and you can see that on their actual key employees. You can see Jamie Lee Curtis Guest, Christopher Guest mentioned over here as the actual key employees. And inside here, Control F, we're going to type in Open Hand. Whoa, look at that, boys. The Open Hand Foundation in the name of Karen Khalil. Now, here you can see in 2018, she gave $20,000 to this as a charitable grant. Now, of course, this is, again, all public record. These are grants and contribution paid during the year or approved for future payment. And again, if you go to the year 2019, again, Control F, Open Hand, whoa, right here, charitable donation of $10,000. So again, if you go to 2020, you type in open hand, you'll find, whoa, $45,000 this year sent over in the name of Karen Khalil. So 2021, there's another donation as well too, and you can guess it. She sends the Open Hand Foundation $25,000. And of course, 2022, because why not, she sends, believe it or not, $25,000 yet again. What's another interesting catch for me over here is
a lot of
for
money.
the last time we looked into the Open Hand Foundation's public filings, they list themselves as a private exempt organization, as is Jamie Lee Curtis's own Skizizi Foundation, a private foundation. So I looked into this filing from Skizizi, and they list the Open Hand Foundation as a public charity, which is interesting. What is it? Remember, there are actually key differences, and one key difference I found was actually listed on this, LLP website, this legal blog, Foley and Lardner, who wrote, "Can a private foundation make grants to organizations other than public charities?" And it's true. Private foundations may choose to make a grant to organizations other than a public charity. For instance, the private foundation you may want to make a grant to, another private foundation, perhaps the recipient is operating a charitable activity, like Indieland, like a golf tournament, you know it, so on and so forth.
This is my guide, guys.
But this typically means that if a private foundation is making to a grant other than a public charity, it can. Technically, grants to entities other than public charities are taxable expenditures and are subject to a dreaded excise tax. However, a private foundation can make a grant to any organization for bona fide section charitable purposes as long as it engages in expenditure responsibility. So in this case, expenditure responsibility means that the granting private foundation must make an inquiry about the potential grant and guarantee. So again, the private foundation should have some level of diligence that the recipient would follow through and use the grant for the proposed purpose, such as fighting dementia and raising money for research against dementia. The private foundation must make the grant pursuant to a written grant agreement under a guarantee, which must agree to use the grant only for charitable purposes and reporting requirements. For instance, the guarantee agrees not to use the funds,
Use funds for lobbying, propaganda, political purposes,
other costs. The guarantee must deliver annual reports to the guaranteeing private foundation. So again, reading into this situation right here, if a private organization gives to another private foundation, right? Private foundation to private foundation, there's actually a lot of paperwork involved with making sure everything's above board. But maybe that's not even required if on paper it looks like you're giving to a public charity, despite that public charitable organization representing themselves on filing as another private organization. It's actually an interesting catch, and I want to know what the legality
6 to 9
around
months to
that
receive the determined letter.
is. She was sending money. Okay, so that is one revenue.
Yeah, that's like one little part right here. Currently, it takes about new organization about 6 to 9 months to receive a determined letter. Private foundations may want to grant these organizations, but may be spooked by the fact that the determined letter has not arrived. Or as private foundations can protect themselves by engaging in expenditure responsibility to avoid any risk. The grant will be taxable. Okay. Okay, I got something else. Sorry, I got something else. My bad.
Organization. It's actually an interesting catch. Money. Okay, so that is one revenue source right there. Now, the third revenue source is YouTube subs, donations, super chats, Twitch bits, subscriptions. Remember, in the Indieland streams, Gerard was very much upcoming and saying any financial contribution throughout YouTube or Twitch would be going directly to charity. That's not money that they were going to be touching. That's money that was going to charity.
All bits, all donations, all super chats, all YouTube memberships, basically anything that's tied to donating or subscribing in a financial way to us is going to charity. We're not touching any of it. It's all going for a good cause.
And of course, the fourth pillar, revenue-wise, is the golf tournament. All of these four, pillars is something that we're going to be adding up together and making sure it's reflected appropriately in the filings. If it's underreported, that's a problem, okay? That is actually a pretty massive problem, and one that I hope the IRS and the DOJ take a real hard look at. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do some accounting over here, okay? So I isolated 3 years in specific that I'm going to be looking at very closely,
okay.
And I'm going to apply those.
Okay, so in John's video, like you said, he looked at more into the golf tournaments. So in the golf tournaments, there's specific charities, sponsorships, like you said, Pepsi and all that, and there's like different tiers, like Legacy or something like that, and there's like it goes up to $8,000 down to like $750 for like one person kind of thing, right? He added all those up. I believe I forgot what year was it exactly, but in one year, because they combine the Indie Land charity and the golfing charity, and they put all those numbers together. But when you put them together, it was more than what they what do you call it? What they claimed on their tax, pretty much. So pretty much what it looks like and what it seems right now, because still allegations at the end of the day, it's still not like for sure yet. Is they've been scheming off money off this charity. It's like taking off like a few $1,000s here and there, and hopefully nobody even realized, right? Because like I even said, I don't know if they get physical money on this. Who knows how much more money they are pretty much not claiming? Because in my personal what do you call it? My personal experience, what I've seen when Artist Alley do, like when you do an overseas one, you have to pay taxes for that state, right? So what some people do is like they show their online numbers, what they get, and that's pretty much it. Or like they don't even like look to, like the organizers don't really look how much, like they don't like see you counting money and stuff like that. So what a lot of people just do, they just tell people the online numbers and the cash. They don't really claim those as taxes because they just say, oh, so that's what I've seen people do. So if people are willing to do that for some small events like that, I wonder how many people would do for, especially for this charity, right? Like if they're making so much money, and so how much money they're not claiming.
Dare you enter
Yo, what up, Shadow?
the prince's lair? The impudence,
The audacity,
the
man.
audacity, the unmitigated gall. You've called down the thunder. Now get ready for the
Boom! Oh my god.
gaze into the face of fear. Booga booga!
Paul, check on that. Alright, wait, what? Let me click on that. What the sub Kaylin?
The Subaru Share the Love event says that Subaru
Why
is
is it-
more than a car.
Oh,
right now.
It was like, okay. I was like, what the, why? Because I posted artwork. Oh, sorry. Yo, what up, Shadow? I was in stream. Let's see. Hold on. Give me one sec. There you go. I died a lot. Were you playing Call of Duty? The Call of Duty? Alright, back to this video, guys, because it's like an hour long. Oh, there you go. I died a lot. God.
The same four patterns or same pillars of revenue sources that I just talked about earlier. So these years in specific are 2019, you've got 2021, and 2022. I got to look at my notes because, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to sound a little bit convoluted. So let's actually start with this, okay? So if we look at if we look at how much money that OpenHand claimed to make in 2019, according to their full filings for that fiscal year ending December 2019, you'll notice that they made $123,816, okay? So in the six figures. Now, at this moment in time, you can actually look and confirm, thankfully, due to the Indie Land tweet that we actually pulled from 2019, where they claimed that their preliminary total earnings were $109,418. Okay, so interesting right there so far. So if we add that, we can see that that's $109,000. And around this time, Jamie Lee's foundation, remember the second pillar of revenue here, her foundation, if we look at what she gave to OpenHand, and again, the fiscal year ending 2019, you can see that she ended up giving OpenHand $10,000, okay? Now, assuming that in their initial tweet they said they maybe added her grant in, which wouldn't really make a lot of sense, but I'm going to be charitable, okay? I'm going to be more charitable than OpenHand and say, sure, let's mix that in. Now, to understand, we haven't even looked at the golf revenue yet, right? So even if you factored all of it and been charitable, The $109,000 subtracted from the current revenue right now gives them a difference of $14,398. Okay, 14,398. That's the total amount of money that is still unaccounted for. So does the golf charity,
Yeah, so he's looking at the same numbers that Jobs did, and yeah, it looks like they're scheming off money. Bro, this is like this ain't no twist drama at all. This is the crime. And this is like also, it's gonna sound like messed up, but it's shitting on his mom's grave, pretty much, if this is actually true, right? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully they're not disgracing her name of this charity. Hopefully all of this is just very bad negligence, but even negligence is still it's still not an excuse. And what I'm thinking is, I think one of the family members that work on these organizations, which looks like could be the dad, could be responsible for all of this, and the completionist did not know any about this, and his dad took advantage of this. Now, I'm just making an assumption. There's no concrete evidence on this, but it's just not looking good right now. This is part 4 of this, by the way.
account for the remaining
Or part 3, part
almost
2.
$15,000. Or sorry, let's be specific. $14,390.
That's also being charitable, letting Jamie's grant factor in the inland total earnings. Yeah, it's being charitable.
Yay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we look carefully at the actual photo gallery for the 2019 PBD Convenience Cup, which, by the way, it is benefiting the Open Hand Foundation. And if we remember, according to their website, they were asking for checks made payable to the Open Hand Foundation. Now, granted, to be very charitable,
right now.
that website is updated for 2023, 2022, a mix of both. But I have no reason not to believe that the checks weren't supposed to be written out if they're specifically benefiting the Open Hand Foundation. They had an account. I'm sure they asked everyone here to write the checks for this account. Now, if we look carefully amongst all these people having a good time, nice day out, they've got lunch sponsors, they've got people out having fun, and of course, inside these golf carts, if you look very carefully, they've got branding from Monster Energy, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, Coca-Cola. And it's interesting to isolate a lot of these anomalies out, because even if you go further, especially to like this section, you can see that Monster Energy and Rockstar Energy have their own actual tents. And their tents come with drinks too. So again, if we go to the second page here real quick, you can pick whichever monster you want. This is fully on them. They brought everything, their A game. This is an expensive event, okay? And of course, you've got dinner sponsors. So you've got 2 right here, Monster and Dr. Pepper, the Snapple group. So again, this is like corporate branding. You got Gerard over here, basically speaking to the rest of the pals out here. So if you look into the actual pricing list right here in the open.
Oh, it's 8,000. See, I was almost right. It was the Diamond, Platinum. Yeah, single player. I did remember that one. Single player was 750.
Once again,
Yeah,
you can
it's a
see
lot.
that when it comes to the pricing tiers, one of them primarily says corporate.
Oh, by the way, these are normal prices for charity stuff, by the way. These are normal prices. They're not like outrageous prices. Like, obviously, it would be outrageous if it was like sort of like a normal event kind of thing. To have like a booth or, be in a main show kind of thing. But these are not, it's not meant for that. These are for charity events. Pretty much, this is what like to sponsor it kind of thing. And then because you're sponsoring this much money, this is what you get extra perks for this. I mean, that's the obvious thing, right? I'm stupid.
Logo featured on course signage, entrance banner, sponsor board, golf carts. Golf carts is only mentioned in the $10,000 tier, okay? Again, let me just scan this real carefully. So for instance, in this, you've got 1, you got 7-Up over here, you got 3, 4, Coca-Cola. You got 5 brands, okay? So again, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at around $40,000 to $50,000. The tents alone, according to this pricing tier, fall under hospitality, which is $7,500. We saw 2 tents of the minimum, which is $1,500, okay? So again, ladies and gentlemen, that is tens of thousands of dollars. And again, if we look at our math once again here, you'll notice that before we had a difference of $14,398. There is still thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, and I'm lowballing, by the way,
Yeah.
because you got to understand, with an event like this, there's also raffles, there's other places where revenue is made. I am very severely lowballing, okay? Enough where I can confirm, at least based on how they've priced and what sponsorship tiers they've put out. I have lowballed, and they are still, in the land of underreporting the revenue, which again is wrong. Because now the question isn't like, hey, is the money all there? Is how much money actually was raised? Because now
God, yeah. So that's the biggest problem right now. Because I was like in the fence already, right? Because okay, one thing that's very weird is they didn't donate the money for about 10 years, right? Is that at least the money is in the account, at least it's there, at least it's just sitting there. But now it seems like it's just sitting there as like a, I don't know, like what do you call it? As a savings account at this point, where like they're just gonna use that for themselves. That's what it looks like. Like honestly, like what the fuck? What is going on? I have no idea what's going on. Like I had the benefit of the doubt. I was like, oh, they could just donate it. Now I don't think they want to donate it because now they maybe because that will also showcase how much money they actually not been what do you call it, submitting like on taxes and stuff. Imagine you find out that a charity that you've been been donating to that's been scheming off money behind your back. Which sadly that could be a lot of charities. Let's be honest. But with this one, it's with the completionist. I mean, he's public figure. It's worse because he's a public figure, so it's like what the hell kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, the other ones is worse too. But like, yeah, he's a public figure with this one. But yeah, like, damn, dude, a lot of money's been skimming off. Like I said, I understand how people do it. I've seen it beforehand when I did the artist salads. I was actually shocked. I was like, oh, I didn't know people actually did that, right? And now with this, it's like, damn, like when I think about that, that's a very small thing compared to this right here, because the other one is like a work related thing, right? And don't get me wrong, it's still taxes, but it's like off other state, but still, this one is like actual charity event based on his mom's memory. Like holy hell! Like the other ones are just like trying to like save up a few bucks to not pay extra taxes or anything. They're still paying them, but just want to save like extra $10. It's not a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's still wrong. But like this right here, this is a big charity, and they're not only they haven't donated the money, now they're like skimming off money of how much money they made on these charities. That's even more messed up, dude.
now we don't even have trustworthy accounting at this moment. So people have said over the course of this investigation that maybe this was just mismanagement. And the thing is, it would make sense if it happened maybe 1 year. But if this pattern, the same pattern, crosses to, let's say, 2021, 2022, which is what we're about to look into, at what point is it systemic, ritualistic, okay? At what point does it go from a simple mistake to something that is systemic? When something is systemic, it's more than just a mistake at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And again, there have been a history of lies.
I mean, he did say he knew about the money sitting there in 2021. So that is the weird thing too.
Especially with our interview to begin with. So the trustworthiness of this character and the entire organization, at least personally to me, is very questionable. But again, I'm not here to speculate. Let's go to 2021 and see if maybe money is also underreported there too. So in the years of 2021, ladies and gentlemen, if we look at the actual open hand filings once again.
Have you guys donated money to charities? Let me know which ones.
You'll notice that their revenue this year was $136,695, okay? So this is the total amount of revenue that they raised. Now, there's going to be a few people that'll say, Muda, what if the golf tournament cost so much money that they actually lost money or broke even? Even if that was the case, first off, it's a shitty fundraising event if they're not actually able to raise money. And it kind of goes against Gerard's idea and his ultra principled stance of, I really want to support the right organizations, because his organization would literally fall into the exact organization that he never wanted to support if they're not able to make money on these extravagant events.
It should not be a pro-profit.
Even if that is the case, if you have, let's say the golf event costs $60,000 to run, right? And it cost, and they made $30,000, so $60,000 to run the event, but they made 30 grand. It wouldn't matter, okay? Because you would still see the $30,000 show up as part of the revenue, right? And the $60,000, if they chose to bill themselves or if they chose to take costs out of the charity, would be reflective. It would show up in the cost sections. Remember, revenue is all the money you've made before you start factoring in, oh shit, it cost me more to run it. So now the revenue that I made, I'm actually going into the loss, okay? That's, again, the money should still be present in the revenue section.
It should
Anyways,
be showcased
let's
still.
go to 2021. So Open Hand made $136,000, 695. Okay, let's type that down. Now, this is the year when Tiltify started to actually like be a thing. And they stopped giving like exact amounts on Twitter or like the YouTube channel as far as I was able to see, and Carl. So with this, we went to IndieLand 2021, and they mentioned that they raised $113,146. One also thing that I wanted to mention here was that it wasn't just Gerard's stream that was making money. You also had these other campaigns that were running too. So Barry Kramer, if you click on this, it appears that they were actually running their own campaign through Twitch, and everyone here was just basically pooling money for this thing. I could imagine the people here that aren't, you know,
$100, $185, $240, yeah.
Foundation from a director standpoint, they should be fucking pissed. But that's not the story here. So this raised.
Damn, dude. Oh, I totally forgot about that. Individual streamers doing this too. And they're like, bro, I busted my ass to stream and I made money to like, especially the $7,000 one. And you're telling me it's not even being used for a good thing? Oh, man. That was one. If I was that streamer, I would have been pissed.
Is $113,146. So I'm going to add that to the notes. And what I did also add here was subtracting 5% add max, right? So 5% of that is $5,657. We are adding the 5% loss just to be ultra charitable. Now, again, I want to just stress that obviously we're looking at these transaction fees. I don't want to make this video and then somebody's going to say that, oh, you didn't factor in a transaction fee. I understand how money works. Obviously, when you work with any of these charity fundraising services, they have their own fees on top.
Yeah.
But again, reading what Tiltify themselves have said, obviously a transaction fee could be taken by a third party like PayPal, the Giving Fund, Stripe, Giving Block, depending on what your relationship with them is. But they say when we work with the charity and their payment account directly, so I would assume the Open Hand and then their actual holdings, that fee would be whatever their typical transaction fee is, depending on what they may have negotiated with that payment provider. When donations are made, 100% of the donation is then sent directly to the charity account in real time. So here they say Tiltify is paid a contribution fee for our technology and services. Charities pay a range depending on their plan with Tiltify. The average Tiltify makes from processing is currently less than 5%. So when they say currently less than 5%, that could be up to 5%, right? Now, depending on what your relationship is, that could be like 1%, 2, 3, 4, and 5. To be very charitable to the Open Hand Foundation, I'm just going to apply a flat 5% loss because, again, I don't know what their contract is. Maybe they could be paying less. But again, it wouldn't really matter. If the money goes over what they report revenue-wise, it's just bad. So I'm going to apply the 5% strike just to be ultra charitable over here. There may be a little bit more processing fees applied. I'm not entirely sure there. But again, it can't be much more than the 5% that they are losing, right? Again, without an exact specific clause that I can see in their contract, it's hard to exactly pinpoint how much money. It could be more than 5%, could be less. Depends on what it is.
I mean, like, I'm at a point where, because with PayPal, I don't know how it is with charity stuff, by the way, but with PayPal, I need to, like, I have a store called Coffee, right? And every time I saw an item on PayPal, PayPal takes a fee. And there's a weird ass fee called like finder's fee or something like that, which is like an extra like $5, $100.50. Like, even though it doesn't seem like a lot, but it all adds up. I'm like, what is this? Like, the fees are crazy with PayPal sometimes. I don't know how it is with charities and all that, but like, not only do they take fees, they're taking a finder's fee kind of thing. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? So I'm trying to find alternatives to like go away from PayPal. Like, I mean, I don't even use PayPal as much anymore. But yeah, it's like, this is like, it is like that, man. Like, fees are insane sometimes, dude. But with charities, I don't know. Charities obviously is different, but when I sell an item in my store, It's fees upon fees, dude. It's insane. I lose like if I make $20, I lose like $3. It's like what the okay, dude.
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're getting down to. Let's get back to the analysis. Then taking away 5,657 gives them $107,489 with some change that should be sent to the open hand account. Remember, money that is outside the control of these guys, that, you know, they're not collecting checks, or Gerard's not taking money out of the YouTube or Twitch fees to pay for charity. This is money that is sent directly to the account. Tiltify wired this money over because that is basically what is on their contractual side. They have to do this. Now, at this moment in time, Jamie, Lee Curtis's grant for this year, if you look at her foundation, was $25,000, right?
Right.
Now, you might ask, but Muda, what if that was part of the Indieland money, right? First off, if you look into the Indieland charity, if you click on just Gerard's stream right here, the top donator is Miles Foxling for $5,000. So this is money that, from what I have to assume, based on everything I've researched,
Bro,
this
that
is
guy
money
made me
that is
pissed.
wired over to the Open Hand Foundation from Jamie Lee's foundation. So $25,000 gets added to the Tiltify money that they've gotten. So if you add the $25,000, you get $132,000. And
What did you say right there? Oh shit.
over to the Open Hand Foundation
It's an
from
extra
Jamie
plus.
Lee's foundation. So $25,000 gets added to the Tiltify money that they've gotten. So
Because
if
of
you
it has
add the
nothing to do with the Jimmy grant.
$25,000,
Okay,
you get
yeah, it has nothing- okay.
$132,000 and $489.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So this is pretty close to the actual revenue, a few grand off. Now, we haven't even calculated the golf money. Fuck, we haven't even truly calculated the Indieland, merch sales, the ticket sales, the YouTube earnings, the Twitch
bitch.
earnings. Because remember, Tiltify doesn't touch any of that. That is money YouTube sends to Gerard or the one video game company or whatever their firm is through AdSense. Same with Amazon and Twitch. You can't just tell YouTube that, hey, I'm doing this charity event. Just, take a little bit of money out from my AdSense and just directly send it to Open Hand or whatever.
Yeah, you
YouTube
cannot do
doesn't give
that.
a shit. They'll tell you, here's your full money. You do what you have to do, dog. We're not getting involved. So this isn't even including money that should be sent over. This is just Tiltify raising cash. We haven't even touched the YouTube Twitch bits that Gerard would have to send over. Now, again, we are looking at a difference of a couple grand. So let's look at the golf tournament for 2021. So according to 2021, you got a couple gold sponsorships. So you got 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you look
What's
at
up,
the
Billy?
pricing
That's
tier, once
8,000?
again,
Oh,
gold
6,500.
sponsorships are $6,500 each.
36.
So you're looking at 6,
40.
and that would come out to $39,000.
Oh.
We've also got titanium
Okay.
sponsorships.
I
I
was way
don't
off.
know what a titanium
I know, I think
sponsorship
40.
is, because if you look again, like right here, I don't see titanium. So I'm not going to start assuming things, okay? Because
So Titana, I think maybe platinum, right? But I respect him not like saying, oh, it has to be platinum or silver, because yeah, I could be way off from like 7,500 to 3,000. Be like, that's like $4,000 off. It's like, okay, I gotta
assuming things.
I understand
okay?
why you
Because
don't want to go
clearly
there.
I'm not here to speculate.
Yeah.
It's already bad enough with that $39,000 just with the gold, because if you add $39,000 to the current total, you're already over the revenue that is reported, okay? That's bad, okay? That is unaccounted for according to their events. So the player sponsorships, again, I don't know if they're actually billing for, just single players or event supporters because they have branding showed, but that's a few $100s, okay? Already we're over, so it's not worth it. The diamond sponsorship is $8,000 each. So you've got Cormark and you've got PBD West, which, as far as I understand, that's like Charles Khalil's company, so I don't know if they're paying to their own foundation for their branding. But anyways, you're looking at $16,000, okay? This is $8,000 each. So again, diamond, 8,000. We see two, $16,000.
Damn, dude.
You've got one platinum sponsorship from Reyes Coca-Cola Bottling, which is alone $7,500, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, adding all of that up, we are looking at, again, $62,500, all right?
Yeah.
So again, if you added that to the total already, you are over the revenue that is showing up once again in the Open Hand Foundation. So again, going back to the idea of systemic patterns in the situation, these are 2 years where revenue doesn't appear to match up to the events that have been ran. And again, you might say, what if the golf costs too much? What if they're in the red with that event? Well, first off, you got to shit can that event, okay? And again, I'm lowballing every number for the golf charity because I am purposefully omitting actual sponsorships that we can see clearly, but because I don't have the price chart, I am just omitting them. Again, we're already over the revenues. It's bad enough, okay? That's the message I'm sending. We are looking at undocumented money according to these filings. Because again, if these filings are to be correct, they have to be significantly over $136,000 to account for that golf money that we're adding up. So now let's go to 2022 because that's the final year. And that's the last bit of tax information that we have to go
for
off.
this year.
So 2022 Open Hand rips out $117,000 and 247. Okay, 117,247. That's the revenue for this year, right? Now Tiltify this year claims that they raised $90,582.09. And again, to be uber charitable, 5% of that is $4,529. And
so
if
they
we
go
adjusted it by
86,000.
removing
Okay.
that from the Tiltify goal here, the Tiltify transaction, that is $86,050. That is $86,053. Okay, that's what's supposed to be sent over, assuming the worst of the processing fees hit. So again, Jamie Lee's grant this year, according to her foundation, if you look at the Open Hand, $25,000. Okay, so she gave $25,000.
Okay, so it's 25 every year. Okay.
And again, if we scroll all the way up, that is the fiscal year ending 2022.
Okay.
So now, if we add $86,053, $86,053 with the $25,000, you get $111,000, $111,053. Okay. It's like 5 in the morning, okay? Stop it. I'm trying to do my best with that. Now, Michael Barrett, who basically was the actual charity event coordinator, said that what you saw at Indieland, which again, they said that they raised over 80,000, so 90 grand you're seeing over here, he actually claims that with merch, ticket sales, and again, platform donations like YouTube and Twitch, they made over $100,000, okay? Now, again, let's say that 111, no matter what you add here, the golf stuff is what you want to see. So let's look at the golf event for this year. Now, the golf event had 2 diamond sponsorships for 2022, which again, that is $16,000 right there, 8 grand each. You've got the twosome package. So apparently there were some people having twosomes, 2 companies. That is $1,500 according to the pricing tier. Look at that, twosome players, right? $1,500. So again, twosome package, that's 3 grand right there. And then of course you've got the players sponsorship, which I don't know exactly how they did this. Not necessarily important. Again, I'm lowballing everything. I'm trying to match it to what they have, the price chart that I have. The platinum recognition here is straight up, again, $7,500. So add 1 company there. Hospitality is, according here, they mentioned under the platinum, that's probably 7,500, okay? Again, I'm matching it up as close as I possibly can. And again, you aren't also looking at the auction that they have listed here and the raffle tickets they're selling. So there is a lot more money that is actually on the line. I am very much lowballing everything. Again, if you added my lowball total for the golf tournament, that's $34,000. Now, before the golf tournament, the Indieland, Tiltify, and Jamie's grant adds up to $111,000, which is, again, pretty fucking close to the posted amount that year. But what that amount doesn't seem to include is that golf money. And again, even with my lowball $34,000, you are still well above the amount that you were supposed to report, okay? Again, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you something about tax filings here, okay? You know where it has the signature side? In the signature section, it says, under penalties of perjury, I declare that I have examined this return, including accompanying schedules and statements to the best of my knowledge and belief. It is true, correct, and complete. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a crime. Perjury. Again, I am just doing the most basic third-party accounting that I can do. I can only imagine what the IRS, the DOJ will find with books this seemingly fucked. Now, in their expenses for 2022, they even mentioned the golf fundraiser expenses
Was
turned out to be
$5,200.
$5,236. So maybe it wasn't that crazy expensive of an event. They clearly did build themselves at the Open Hand Foundation, so obviously they've got that relationship.
Bro.
But to understand, there is a lot of money that appears to not be accounted for. And again, when you're looking at the revenue sections for any of these filings, that has to include all the money you've raised. Remember, the checks were made payable to this charity. So either the checks never got cashed and they're maybe sitting in a desk somewhere, or they did get cashed, but not to this account, it seems, which is very...
Isn't there expiration date on checks, guys? Right? Isn't there like, yeah, checks expired, right? How long did they expire? Let's see. Checks expired. Personal, business, and payroll checks are good for 6 months. Some businesses have a void of 90 days. Pre-printed on their checks. Well, I highly doubt they didn't like check the like some of the money. Like, I highly doubt that. So I don't think that's the case. No, that's not the case at all. Like, I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it, man.
Very fucking bad. Okay, to understand, that is when you get it. That is like straight up, the law is on your ass. That is illegal. I mean, at the very least, that is misappropriation of funds. Okay, and at best, it just does not match the books. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, when I started to say systemic at the beginning of this entire spiel, systemic is important because 1 year, if you make mistakes, sure, that's questionable. 2 years,
You
very,
filed
very
an
suspicious.
amendment on
But
your
now
tax
we're looking
filings?
at 3 years of
I did not know
seemingly
that.
underreported revenue. And that's not good. So now the question isn't so much, is the
Yeah, because like every time I do my taxes, I just tell them everything. Like, I don't hide anything. Because I mostly make all my purchases online. I stream and I do like art. Make posts on like content and stuff, so I can like prove that I use the things that I buy for the most part. And also like the event, like if I make a vlog of the event so they can see the equipment I bought that I'm using at the event. And because yeah, when I do taxes, it says I'm a freelancer. I could like claim like video games, art supplies, stuff like that, or anything I use within streaming or equipment for my art and stuff. I could claim those in my taxes, right? As long as you approve, they're using it, stuff like that. Like the new camera I got not a couple months ago, I could claim that as in my taxes and be like, oh, I use that for my art, like the photos, you see the videos, like the camera going down, etc., stuff like that. All that kind of stuff. Like, so I approved that I actually do use it. And if I was making zero money on Twitch, then that would have been like, oh, okay, then that's questionable. Then it's like you're not making anything, so it's like, oh, like what do you use it for then? It's like, oh, well, I have my YouTube, I have my pictures on my art, stuff like that, editing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like even like I think I could even claim Adobe Photoshop, like the subscription, because I've used that for my freelance work pretty much, you know. So as long as you have proof that you use all like the stuff they use, you should have no problem as long as everything like you have proof wise. And if them not having proof of all this stuff, which is very easy to do for the most part, like it's pretty easy. Especially if you're doing these filings every year, but it's like, yeah, I mean, once people start taking like very closely what's going on, bro, I'll be mad as fudge, dude. Like if you're one of the big donors to this charity right here, oh my god, dude! I wonder what the people that actually been big donors are saying this. Like, I'm pretty sure probably someone are like, I'm hoping this is not true. Hopefully they come out with a statement very soon, which this should. It's been 2 weeks. I understand lawyer stuff to a certain extent, but it's been 2 weeks. They got to say something very very soon, or else his career is done. He completed his career. I saw that on YouTube comments, so I'm using it.
the money there? Is the money in the account? I mean, obviously I asked that question too. But how much money really was raised, okay? Like, that's really the question that we have to be asking here. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say here. Again, this is all obtained through public filed information. And if their numbers matched, it wouldn't be the biggest issue in the world. But it really seems like these numbers take into account Indie Land, the Tiltify payments, the Jamie Lee Curtis grant that we found.
Yeah, the
and
golf tournament.
Just off the surface, if you added those two amounts, it's suspiciously close to the revenue. And that's money that's outside the control of the Khalil family, okay? Because when Gerard is publicly saying, I'm going to give the YouTube earnings, the Twitch earnings, I'm like, even if you factored all of that in.
Because like if he said, oh hey guys, the subscription, some of the bit money will go towards the cost of this event, I don't think that many people will get pissed off of that because he's being honest about that, right? If he said, hey guys, some of this revenue will be used for costs, stuff like that, but the majority of it, 90% will go towards the charity. Now, I don't think that people will go crazy because he's being honest about it, and he could prove it. Well, I mean, yeah, but like pretty much could prove it, all that kind of stuff with the costs, with the tax filings, all that kind of stuff. No, nobody I don't think the majority of people will not have a problem with that. But because he said that everything everything they get from those streams and all that is going towards the charity, and he's lying about that, bruh.
And you factored in the the golf earnings, right? If you added those two amounts together, it's substantially higher than the difference of money that if you just added in the Tiltify payments, the Jamie Lee Curtis payments, because as we've seen with the accounting, when you add in the grant, the Tiltify, you have maybe a few $1,000s, at best like 15 grand that 1 year to play around with. To cover a shortfall in the books.
Yeah,
but when
free golf difference without Jamie is 14,000.
you add the golf tournament, especially the golf tournament, you're always exceeding that that revenue that's posted in the books, which again is bad. Where is the money? Why isn't all of it seemingly being reported? That's a question that I now have to ask. And I think many people should ask that. Anyways, this has been the breakdown. I know these parts get long-winded, but I really do have to break this down for myself, my sanity, and to better explain it to the people who come in tune to watch this stuff. So again, that's me being charitable in this situation.
I understand. I mean, if he didn't break it down, people are gonna say, "Oh, it's just allegations. Where's the proof?" I mean, you could say I am saying allegations still, but I mean it's very hard to bro. I mean, I'm just saying, man, it's not looking good at all. Like I said, they better come out with a statement very soon, especially the completionist, since he's a public figure. If he still wants a career, in my opinion, also he doesn't want to go to jail. I mean, like I said, this is not content creator drama no more. This is possibly criminal, like him going to jail kind of thing.
Right? There is clearly misreporting of funds according to these filings and the various pillars of revenue that they have with the open hand, with Indie Land, with this golf tournament.
With Jamie Lee Curtis grants.
I decided, and this is the thing about the story. This is such a weird situation that I'm sitting there and I'm trying to be as charitable as I can. We are trying to figure out the method to the madness. So again, if the money isn't all being accounted for, they need to be federally audited. That's a simple matter of fact, okay? Remember, I am overly charitable right now in my accounting. You know who isn't charitable? The Department of Justice. The fucking IRS, okay? Because they have the ability to open up every single book in your arsenal and basically take you to town. So you better make sure that when the IRS or the DOJ is looking into you, every receipt is filed properly, every check is filed properly, every single thing is done right and done on the straight and narrow. If there is any problems, then your future, your freedom is actually at risk. Now, when it came to the...
I have no problem with that. I have my Amazon receipts. Like I said, I buy everything online at this point. Like I have everything ready to go and prove what I buy. Like I have mostly every single thing that I buy is it's online. I don't buy anything in person. Only food for the most part. I can't count that unless I go to like work for an event stuff because it's work kind of thing.
Open Hand Foundation and them taking in checks for this golf tournament. Again, because the checks were written to the Open Hand Foundation and they were supposed to be written for them, then they should be reflected in the actual filings, right? They should be listed as revenue. They should be in the account.
I'm calling
if
it. I
those
think
checks
that
were
dad did
cashed
something with it.
anywhere else in any other account for any reason, then that is money that could be considered misappropriated. And that, again, falls into serious criminal territory. And again, that's me
They should have a very good explanation for
being
it.
extremely charitable in this entire situation. Look, at the end of the day, this is a matter of charity, okay? And that's, at the end of the day, there are people that are suffering from dementia that unfortunately are not able to actually seek the help that they truly deserve, okay? Because this money that was supposed to be raised for them has done nothing except lose its value over time due to inflation. The cost of lost research and time is something that can never be measured. And of course, beyond all of it, the only enriched party in this is Gerard and the family, okay? Gerard has spent years running Indieland and gaining some of the highest praise from news organizations, from colleagues. Hell, I thought he was a great guy up until I looked into the situation. This has incredibly soured my entire mood on him, and honestly, his group of friends out there that, and for some reason, get into some real insane defenses for this situation.
Really?
Look, I started this
I
by
haven't
basically
really looked
pointing
into too
out
much
the
defense
discrepancy
stuff,
and hoping that the money could be donated. The fact that Gerard and the entire family has been quiet and they've lawyered up, which I understand why they've done it. The fact that the money
It's better to be quiet and lawyered up, especially like this.
hasn't at least, like there hasn't been a bank statement that said we've got the money, it's still accounted for. It's time to actually donate this is a bit shocking to me. But these discrepancies are something that we aren't exactly able to look past. And you know who isn't able to look past that? The government. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen people who said that we've been apparently manifesting criminal charges by constantly pushing for people to report this to the IRS, the DOJ, maybe even the FBI. Fuck any federal agencies whose purview falls into this section. And you know why? Because we're adults. Because this is something that is ethically damning. And you and I pay taxes,
this is not
to the United
stream
States, to
drama.
Canada,
This is
to the
criminal.
countries that we live in.
Yeah, this is
And
not stream drama,
generally
guys.
speaking, in situations like this, we pay taxes for these federal agencies to start clamping down on bad actors. So yes, you bet that I'm going to actually tell people to, notify the authorities. This is not something that should be going on. This is something that should be investigated. This is what we pay taxes for. And honestly, I am totally there for all the actual sponsors, Jamie Lee Curtis, for a lot of these people to look into a situation that they probably didn't think too much of. Again, this was charity. I wouldn't have looked into it if it wasn't for a tip-off or me being looped in by Carl. But now that I have, it's a situation that continues to constantly disgust me. And this is why this probably is the last update until there's some legal development or there is actually a response by, Gerard or somebody in the family. Who knows? Look, at the end of the day, the money, now I have a question as to how much money is raised and why there hasn't been a proper accounting throughout the years, at least according to these filings and looking at their various sources of revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, honestly, it's a fucked up situation. But I want to ask you what you think about it. This is me, Mutahar, and yeah. Notify the California DOJ. I'll leave a link in the description below. File out a form, fill it out, and yeah.
Wait, I live in
because at the end of the
California.
day, if you're a resident of California,
Wait, what? Gerard's Completionist appeared in a Sea of Stars as the dude who collects donations. Has been one of the most unfortunate gamer cameo in hindsight. It's honestly, oh no! Are you finding any new donations? Oh my god, that's just worst timing, dude. Come out and said anything about the charities beyond what was said to Mudhar and Carl. Sites like IGN cover a story, but it's like radio science, no news, no more digging. It's like money gone, Gerard. Many answers. I mean, as of right now, he's not going to say anything, obviously. He's going to be completely quiet, right? He's going to be quiet. Why would he say anything right now? Like, yeah, it's been, how long already? Like 19 days plus? Maybe 20 days? So it's about to be 3 weeks, pretty much. It's going to be close to 3 weeks, honestly. No refunds? Oh my god, dude. People are just going crazy, man. Oh my god, man. Okay, look, here's the thing. He could be complete innocent, and I think it could be like the dad or someone in the family that messed with the whole thing. That is the least benefit doubt I could do. But because he is the public figure, he's getting the most shit on. Like that's honestly like, oh man, just put a dislike on that for me saying that. Because I'm still trying to think like how this happened in general. Like I still don't get it. I like, bro, it's been 2 weeks at this point, man. When the news broke, how you feeling right now? Okay, I don't care about that. People defended him. I understand you want to defend your streamer, you want to defend your favorite content creator. I understand that to a certain extent, right? But I'm not gonna try to shit on people because I'm always trying to look at the best way possible or like logical sense of all of this. Like negligence, even if it's negligence, it's really bad negligence. You know what I mean? And like I said, yeah, people are shitting on him because again, he is the public figure, right? But it could not be him. It could actually be a family member. And I don't want to bring down his dad down, but it's like because his dad runs the golf one, right? But then it could be the person who's running the numbers on this, like who files the taxes. It could be the guy who's filing taxes who's skimming off the money. Who the hell knows, dude? It is super freaking weird. Just like Asmongold said, such a sad and weird story. I just hope the money isn't spent. So it's just so weird, man. Like even if the money isn't spent, I guess you could say, because with the tax filings, it says the money's still there. It's like how much money has even been like claimed? How much money have they schemed off? How much money have they stole from the people in general? Man, if I was one of those big streamers or like big donators, I would look into it like, yo, where the hell's my money? Where did it gone to? I want my refund at this point. It's like I actually donate to actual dementia charity at this point, dude. A scammer scam when he books his mom's new condition while scamming money. He's the type of person that makes me skeptical of charities. If Open has gotten away with this for over 9 years, only got found out because 2 YouTubers decided to investigate them. How many more charities are getting away with it and aren't being investigated? Oh, there's a couple, man. There is a couple, dude. The irony of all this, Carl Muda have been charitable as one of possibly be to Gerard in the scenario, so get accused of spreading baseless drama. This is not, yeah, this is a point. This is not drama, bro. This is not drama. Out there, especially to the people who rushed the Completionist defense in the past few weeks, it's okay to give benefit of doubt. In fact, it's a positive quality. But once you catch someone lying, assuming the worst from the point on, especially if money is involved, I always say it's great. It's okay to give benefit of doubt, but it's just wait for more information to come out. That's why in every single video I'm like, at least the money's there. But now it's looking. How much money is in there? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, dude, yeah. So I'm gonna, bro, this is insane. I guess this is one way to end 2023, guys. We'll see. Holy hell! God, I swear, I feel like every single year there's like always a big drama, or I guess in this case, not even drama. This is criminal at this point. That we always end it. Like it's always something like this ends every year within this sphere. It's freaking weird, man. At this point, dude, like what the hell, man? Hopefully this is just very bad negligence, and again, that's just being charitable too as well, because that's still bad. But hopefully all the money is in there, and they're not been giving off money. But like, bro, just the evidence on this, just the evidence on this video, man, it does not look good at all, dude. Like I'll be surprised if he even comes back for the next 2 or 3 years, honestly, at this point. And then if even if he's innocent, his name has been tarnished already for charity. His Indian land is done. It will always be connected to these videos, articles, or something like that. You know how the internet works, man, at this point.